Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mass Retirees Weekly Update. I'm Sean Duhamel. Today's Friday, April 7th. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for joining with us. Now I want to start off by wishing all of our members who are celebrating Passover this week a happy Passover. I wish you peace and happiness and success in the coming year. Now this update today is going to have a bunch of different information, and if you are an association member, please look to your email this morning. There's going to be even more information contained in this week's email blast that's going out to everybody. Now, while the bulk of this week's message is going to be focused on the cost of living adjustment, both the COLA base as well as the adoption of the 5% COLA at the local level, let me start off by talking about the state's Group Insurance Commission, which just began just this past Wednesday its annual open enrollment period, which will run through May 3rd. So you have plenty of time if you're insured through the GIC, and if you're thinking about maybe making some changes to your coverage, or if you need to make changes to your coverage, you have time to do so. There's no reason to panic, or you don't need to run out today and do it, but you also don't want to wait till the last minute. Now, I know we're getting a lot of questions from GIC enrolled members. And when I talk about the GIC, I'm talking about the state's Group Insurance Commission. So if you are a municipal retiree receiving your health insurance through the city or town that you worked for, you're not enrolled in the GIC. And if you have Blue Cross Blue Shield, you're not enrolled in the GIC, you're enrolled in a local insurance plan. But for those of you who are enrolled in the GIC, I know there's been a lot of confusion and questions about some of the changes that are taking place for the coming fiscal year, which is FY24. Some of those changes relate to simply plan names changing. Others are changing depending on where you happen to live or the type of plan you're in. Now, if you are a Medicare retiree, the good news is that there is very little that's changed. Specifically, if you are a Medicare retiree who's insured under the Unicare Optional Medicare Extension Plan. Virtually as nothing is changing for your coverage. You don't have to switch plans. The OME plan as it's currently known, it will soon be known as just the Unicare Medicare Extension Plan, the UME if you will. That will provide you full coverage regardless of where you live, whether it's here in the United States or abroad. There's nothing you need to do to switch coverage. Now, the GIC has a wealth of information on their website. They are not holding in-person health fairs during this open enrollment. Everything is taking place either online or by phone. So we are trying to do our part here at Mass Retirees to give our members all of the information that you need to answer your questions, to give you peace of mind, and to make informed decisions going forward. Now, one of the things we've done is we went to press a couple of weeks early, as I've stated before, with our May newsletter. And you see right here on the front page, GIC completes procurement process, along with information about the state and teacher COLA base, which I'm going to get to in just a minute. But contained in this newsletter is a full chart of all of the premium contribution rates, so meaning what you pay on a monthly basis. All of that information is here in the newsletter. This was mailed this past Wednesday, so by the time you're watching this video or getting today's email message, some of you would have already received this in the mail. If you haven't gotten it yet, you will get it over the next couple of days. Now, in addition to the newsletter and everything the GIC continues to do on their end, we have decided to hold a special webinar this coming Thursday, which I believe is April 13th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. This will take place online through Zoom. Now, there are two ways that you can participate in a Zoom meeting. One is by clicking the link that's contained in today's email message. The other way is by calling the telephone number that's also contained in today's email message. All of that information is in today's email. This is a Mass Retirees member-only event. So if you're not a member of Mass Retirees, you're not going to be able to participate. But if you'd like to join, I would love to have you be part of our membership. We represent about 52,000 retired Massachusetts public employees. You can join us on our website, massretirees.com. That information is contained on our Facebook page, on our YouTube page, and if somebody has forwarded this message to you, you can find us at massretirees.com. In the right-hand column margin, there's a link for you to become a member of Mass Retirees. So all of that information is coming to you. We look forward to you joining with us next Thursday. If you do have questions about your GIC health insurance or about open enrollment. Now, I should also just make it very clear, Thursday's meeting is only about the GIC. We're not going to talk about any other topics. We're not going to take questions on any other topics. It is specifically about open enrollment and giving all of our members insured through the GIC all of the information you need to participate in the open enrollment period. Now, on to the COLA. As I said, the top story here is about the state and teacher COLA base and how this is our main legislative priority right now. This is our main focus. The House of Representatives will be taking up its version of the budget later this month. We are making every effort to include an increase in the state and teacher COLA base as part of the budget. The budget will be released from the House next Wednesday. That's what we're assuming. Amendments will most likely be due by a week from today, by the April 14th, with debate on the budget beginning the week of April 24th. So by the end of this month, we'll have a better understanding of at least what the House's position is in terms of the state and teacher COLA. Now, in the meantime, we continue to be very, very happy with the results that we're seeing at the local level, both in terms of increasing the local COLA base amongst the 102 local retirement systems and the implementation of the 5% COLA for FY23, which is the current fiscal year. Now, in just the past week, 2 retirement systems and their local legislative bodies have approved a significant increase in the COLA base. A week ago yesterday, we got word that Bristol County has voted to approve a $20,000 COLA base beginning in this July 1st. Now, up until now, Bristol County has had an $18,000 COLA base over the past few years. They're now, as I just said, going to $20,000. Now, the Bristol County Retirement Board played a critical role in helping to get this over the finish line. And in particular, I want to say a special word of thanks to retired Somerset Fire Chief Steve Rivard, who is our South Coast Area Vice President for Mass Retirees. Steve is one of the elected members to the Bristol County Board, and he worked day and night along with the other board members to get this adopted at the local level by the Regional Retirement Board Advisory Council that oversees Bristol County, and played a role in that approval. So I want to say thank you to everybody in Bristol County who supported this provision and got it done for our local retirees. Now, not to be outdone, just Wednesday of this week, we got word that on Tuesday night, the Wellesley Town Meeting approved a $3,000 increase in the Wellesley COLA to be phased in over the next 3 years. Now, very similar to Bristol County, the Wellesley Retirement Board played an absolutely pivotal role in getting this over the finish line at town meeting. In fact, only 2 town meeting members in Wellesley voted no. I believe it was 170 some odd town meeting members voted yes. And that's because of the work done by the Wellesley retirement system to make the case as to why this was necessary, but more importantly, why it was fair for Wellesley to support this increase and how the retirement system would go about adopting these costs and rolling them into its pension funding schedule with no additional cost to the town. And that's really a key point. So Wellesley will be implementing this new COLA base at $1,000 a year for the next 3 years. So for FY24, the COLA base will be $19,000, in FY25, $20,000, and finally in FY26, Wellesley will be the first system to go to $21,000. So we now have 2 systems that have broken through that so-called $18,000 ceiling, which was an artificial ceiling. There is no local limit in terms of how far local retirement systems can go in terms of the local COLA base. It really comes down to local political considerations as well as the local funding schedules and the fiscal health of the retirement system. Now, at the same time, a growing number of local communities have either the retirement boards have adopted the 5% COLA, or the local government has then approved the adoption of the new 5% COLA. So as of today, 65 retirement systems have approved a 5% COLA for FY23. Of those 65 systems, 48 communities have also voted to approve the COLA increase. So what that means is that retirees from these 48 retirement systems will receive the additional 2% COLA that's retroactive back to July 1st of last year. That brings the COLA that was granted last summer at 3% up to the full 5%, and that will be paid either in this month's check or a future check, depending on when the community adopted it. Now, a key point that I want to make or report to all of you is that earlier this week on Tuesday, Norfolk County received the final approval that they needed to grant the full 5% COLA to all Norfolk County retirees. If you recall, the county and regional retirement systems have a higher bar that needs to be met in terms of local approval, unlike other municipal systems where they simply need the approval of the Board of Selectmen or City Council and a mayor and a city government. Under a county or regional system, in addition to the retirement board voting to approve the 5% COLA, they also need the approval of 2/3 of the towns, the municipal governments that make up the retirement system. So in the case of Norfolk County, they needed 13 of their participating towns to approve the higher the higher COLA percentage. And on Tuesday night, they got the town of Rentham approved the COLA, as well as the town of Medfield also voted. Now, in the case of Rentham, we got advanced word that the Rentham Board of Selectmen were going to be taking up the COLA for a vote on Tuesday night. We sent a letter a week ago to all of our members living in the town of Rentham, regardless of where they retired from. And our message was simple, that all retirees need to stick together. It's all for one, one for all. Please contact the Rentham Select Board and urge them to support the COLA. So we had several dozen members contact their local Board of Selectmen, and I believe the vote on Tuesday night was unanimous amongst the 5-member Board of Selectmen. But it took that grassroots effort amongst our retirees. So this has resulted in Norfolk County being the first county or regional retirement system to approve the 5% COLA for FY23. Now, we have received word that several other counties are approaching the threshold needed to get this over the hump and to grant that COLA to their retirees. We will be reporting that in the newsletter, as well as in these weekly messages. And if we get advance notice, like we did in Rentham, that a vote is going to take place, we will certainly let our members know who live in that community, so they can do that grassroots work at the local level to help us get this done. Now, if you are viewing this on Facebook or YouTube, please look to our website, massretirees.com. We will have a full listing of the local COLA base, all the levels across the 102 retirement systems, as well as a full listing of those communities that have adopted the 5% COLA for the current fiscal year, as well as which communities have fully approved that COLA. So that information is again on massretirees.com, right on our homepage. Please go and view it. If you don't see your local retirement system listed, contact your local board members, in particular your local 2 elected members, and see what you can do to help them get this over the finish line. The 5% COLA must be adopted no later than June 30th of this year in order for it to take effect for FY23. So with that, I'm going to sign off for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this message this week. We will be back to you next Friday with an update on the state budget that's coming out, along with any breaking news that may happen. In the meantime, take care, everybody, and thanks again.